Awesome. We're so used to, oh, now it clicked. This is the perfect way to start. For all of you peeps joining us on the Marci TV show, you're going to recognize that this is some awesomeness that I'm still learning to be more technical every day. So this being our first official TV show like this, I'm used to being in the studio at ABC4 and on TV where they just take care of all the technology. So now this is a whole new game, and we lost our official intro with our radio show, which is like, you got it, Rachel, you've heard it, you ready, you want to help me? It's like, locking down the truth with Marci Lock. And so Rachel and I decided, my epic guest here today that I'm going to introduce you guys to, that we're going to start off with a dance-off. You ready, Rach?
Let's go for it.
Show me what you got. Come on. So this is what's going to happen here is we don't know. We do not know. This is just pure live awesomeness. And we actually even said a prayer, right, Rach? We did. Said a prayer. We said a prayer that tools in God's hands and it gets to come through us. So this is the official new Marci Lock TV show. And for those of you joining us, obviously this is the first time on the Marci Lock show. Maybe you've joined me in the past on my weekly Warrior Woman radio show, or seen me on TV, or followed some sort of form of all the ways that we're spreading a message out there. But for those of you that are first just interacting with us, this whole intention that I have is to be a tool in God's hands, completely authentic, completely real, completely vulnerable, completely transparent, and just to share with you what comes through me, what's been my journey and my experience to share a freedom that I know. Living literally at peace with my body, in total freedom, at peace with my life, and what I call, and what I've learned from one of my master coach mentors, the warrior's way, which is a life of having it all. We believe in having a life of total balance and awesomeness, and epic relationships, epic spiritual connection, to financial abundance, to a rockin' body of health, relationships, everything, where most people in society tend to have one aspect of their lives that they focus on, and they have, put all their focus and attention towards a great body, but then their relationships are shit, or their finances they're living in scarcity mentality. So the warrior's way is truly an experience of people that choose, they get to have it all. And we break through all the bullshit that says that we can't. And so my inspiration about doing this is kind of conforming my goddess warrior movement, which is why I have Rachel here, why I have I had my Warrior Woman radio show, which is bringing on women who are done with the bullshit story that it has to look a certain way. That you being a mother has to look a certain way, that you being a woman has to look a certain way, that you might stand on the sidelines and support your spouse, that you get to step up and co-create. That if you have a spouse, then they are a creator and you are a creator as well, living in your epic genius and living in the truth of who you are. So my whole intention here, and why I bring on only the most amazing epic goddesses living in the same truth, standing in their truth, is so that you can see this example and we can start to break down the evidence that this doesn't exist, that literally as a woman we have a mindset and a conditioning mentality of what it's supposed to look like and what your options are, and it gets to look like whatever way you want it to look for you. So today, my awesome, amazing guest here, Rachel Mazer. Did I say that right? Is it Mazer or Macer? I've never even known, because I just have always said Rachel.
Yeah, it's okay. It's Macer.
Macer. Yeah. See, I was right. I'm a genius in my own right. So Rachel, I know her as just the queen of literally Clean Food Crush TV that you're, well, actually cleanfoodcrush.com, and then you're now making Clean Food Crush TV. Did I say that right?
Yes, with a couple other women. So we're going to have a clean eating show that's going to.
There you go. Awesome.
It's really similar to what you're doing. We just we have so much to share and so many different ideas. So
well, and we all do. That's the greatness of when we all live in the remembrance of who we truly are. We know we're all unique and we all have greatness to share. So I can learn so much from you, and you have so much to share. It's like you and I have communicated a lot, where even like I have my first cookbook, and my second cookbook is more focused on the clean eating side, and where I'm like, Rachel, you have such awesome stuff, and we've shared ideas and talked about you doing stuff with me. And so it's like you in your own right, see, you have so much genius to share, and then I just kind of focus on different aspects. So if we all just are open to learning from each other, we just get to have greater and greater. So I love that you collaborated with a couple amazing other women in your creation of Clean Food Crush TV. So when does that actually come out, Rachel?
We begin filming in 2 weeks. We have so many plans over the summer to we're going to be doing events and different things. So we'll keep everybody updated, and it's really exciting. So we're looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, I want to dive into this, and I'm going to actually let you, Rachel, kind of give more of the insight as to where you came from, other than just to tell people that they're really in for a treat, that you're here, and that the main purpose that we're doing is every single week, my intention is to cover a core aspect to create an epic life. And so this week our focus on the body is the body. So that's why, of course, I wanted to bring you on with your genius and your specialty is around this and your journey. And what's so cool is to hear your story. And I'm like, wow, like looking at, I know where I came from, if I didn't post my sexy 70-pound overweight picture, that people are like, wow, I would have never known that that was you if I didn't see a picture. I always thought you were just lean and ripped, right? And hearing your story, I was the same. I was like, oh my gosh, Rachel, I would have never known that that's where you came from because you're this beautiful goddess of health. So I think this is so cool. And so my intention is to be really raw and authentic, and I know that you believe the same, to just be super in truth of who you are. So will you share with us, like the first question I'd really love you to share with our guests is, who are you?
Hey.
Rachel.
Hey. Thanks, Marci. I'm really excited to be here with you because I have been following you for a couple years, and I look up to you so much. You are such a hugely motivational person to be around, and thank you for having me here. And I just want to tell everybody that this was supposed to be just a phone interview.
And it was a radio show you were going to be on. Yeah,
a radio show, so I could read my notes and play with my hair, and then she sends me a text a day ago, and she's all, guess what? It's going to be a TV show. Are you so excited? And I actually tried to backpedal for a minute, and I panicked for a minute, and she wouldn't let me out. She'd go, no, sorry, marketing material's done. She's like, you're in, sorry. And I always tell my friends to, go outside your comfort zone and do things, just always say yes. So I had to say yes, and I had to stick to it. But I'm actually really excited to be here, and I like Marci. So anyway, I'm Rachel.
I grow on people after a while. I mean, the lock love is usually intense, but then they like me later when the lines and the definition and they feel the love. Then they're like, okay, I like her. She's okay.
Yeah, I can see that. So I'm going to just dive into who I am. And it does, initially I was apprehensive to share this story because it is pretty raw. It is pretty, it's shocking to some people. A few people even said, they're like, you realize you're telling this story and this story's written and your children are reading it. And I thought about it, and I said, you know what, that's really okay, because I grew up and we went to church, but we didn't talk about things a ton. We didn't talk about, in my particular family, we didn't talk about drugs exactly and, things like that. So it was just, we went to church and there were certain expectations. So I feel like opening that conversation and just being honest with my children, obviously they are going to hear the story. I really feel like it's okay, and I feel like it's good for them because they see me as a healthy, balanced person now, and I think that's a better lesson for them to learn than to just not hear the story or not touch on it. Anyway, I have always been quite a free spirit. Those that know me, they know this about me very well. I'm still great friends with most of my high school buddies. And when I was about 16, I decided, I don't really like my parents. I pushed the boundaries quite a bit. I grew up in a small town, and I kind of just liked my friends more. We like to party, and that's, is sort of what you do in a small town. At least it was what I did, and the majority of the kids I associated with, it's what they did. So I decided to move out with a friend, and I thought I was so good. I had my own job, and then we'd get to just spend all our free time partying, which is really what we did. I smoked cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes from about the time I was 16 until I was 20, and I was totally addicted. I mean, I would wake up and go outside and smoke I would smoke walking to school. I would smoke driving to school. Those that know me, up until the time I had my first child, I still smoked even into my 20s. So that's usually pretty surprising for people, because I have a lot of friends who are dealing with addiction, tobacco addictions and things like that. So usually people are really surprised to hear about that. But even more so than that, it went beyond just the smoking. Obviously we would drink. I mean, we would drink out. Everyone in our small town, I'm going to say everyone, would drink alcohol. That was just what we did. But being the free spirit that I was, and just wanting to party, meth was a huge problem in Moab, and I've heard that it still is, which is really sad. But I have such a personality that I love to be, I love the up. I love, I don't like to feel down or tired, so I tried meth and I loved it. I loved the feeling. It would make me feel so intensely, just, I would have such a high for a couple days. I would be so up. I could talk to my friends for hours. I would stay up overnight. We'd get to party more. I would feel so excited about life and the feeling, and then I would crash, and you crash hard. It's horrible. Your body feels fatigued. You feel exhausted. Depending on what you did to yourself, you're in bed for 3 days. You feel terrible. It's meth. It creates drama between your friends. I had isolated myself from all of my family because it just plays games with your head. You're not in a great place. And the thing is, a lot of my close friends that I'm still close friends with, there are such amazing people, and they, a lot of them were, I was watching them go through it with their families, and I was watching their families break up, and everybody was having the hardest time, and a few of them, and they had to go to, their families took over, and it got to be a really bad situation. And it got to be the end of the summer, and I was watching everything fall apart. My friendships, all the kids that I thought were so cool that I was hanging out with, everything I thought was so cool. I woke up just feeling fatigued, and my body hurt, and I was so tired, and I thought, you know what, this is not cool. This sucks. This sucks. I've lost my job. I've lost my family. My family thinks I've fallen off the earth. This sucks. And all of my friends, they're not the same people. Their minds are warped. They're these, and I know that's not who they are as people. So I realized literally one day, I was like, I am never doing that again. It's horrible. What am I doing to my body? I feel horrible. It's not worth the high. It was destroying my life. So literally I just woke up one day and was like, I'm never touching it again. It's horrible. And it just happened just like that. I was like, I'm done. And I never touched it again, never did it again. And I honestly feel a lot of the reason maybe I was supposed to have that experience was to share that story with other people. I can actually still feel the feelings of how bad, and a couple of my friends, how bad their lives got, and the things that happened. It was really intense. So as crazy as that story is to tell, and knowing that, I mean, my children, I've written the story, and I know that my daughter's checked Instagram, and she's 12, and she reads it, and my intention is, you know what, I'm going to be honest, and I want to discuss this with her, because these were things drugs of that nature were never discussed with me. It was just, you don't do it, and then it wasn't talked about. So obviously that didn't work. So I'm trying it another way. This is my way, and this is, I think sometimes by just being honest and telling people our stories, maybe they can learn more from that than just ignoring it ever happened.
Well, something that I think this is why it's got to be a different mind shift. You obviously touched on that. If you want something different, you got to do something different to get different results. And a lot of times in my groups, as people are going through learning to become authentic and they're journaling, they're like, oh, I'm so afraid my kids are going to see this or someone else is going to read this. And it's like, this is why we grow up thinking we have to show up perfect to be loved. Is even from every parents, we want to hide every mistake we've had or anything or how we truly feel to just pretend that we have it all under control and we show up perfectly. And then kids are dealing with the same, like hiding what they really feel and what they really think and who they truly are because they think, oh, no one's going to accept me unless I show up perfect. And just like you, like growing up, I think in the same church environment that we did, or the same, it's just like, hey, you don't have sex, you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do that. But then what happens is there's that explosion to want to feel free. You just said it, you rebelled. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's way more powerful, and I love that you shared that because I feel like it's so much more powerful to say to your kids, yes, these were my experiences and this is what I learned from it, so that they can understand, like, this is what I realized came of it. And instead of them thinking, well, I have to show up perfect to be loved, and if I'm not, then you're not going to love me, and then I just fall short, because our deep core beliefs say I'm not good enough, so I know I'm going to fall short, so I might as well, prove it right, which is what you were saying. You're like, screw it, I'm just going to prove it right and go the other way, because I'm obviously not going to be perfect in your opinion, and I'm not going to do these things. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that authenticity, because that, and where even at first you're like, I'm going to, people probably are saying, you're going to let your kids hear this? Damn straight I am. Yeah. They didn't know who I truly have been. Why would I ever, if I know I'm a daughter of God and everything I've experienced here has been for my perfect growth process to be who I am, and you can probably, back me up on this or tell me if this has been your experience, but every single shitty thing that's happened has been the greatest thing that's happened to me in allowing me to become who I am. And so how did this take us now in this story where you were someone who you struggled in the past as a teenager? Where did you move into, how did this really roll into you becoming your process with the body and where you really fought the body? Well,
so we're nowhere near that part yet. We went on to other things. Back up then. So let's see, I got married and I became pregnant with my first baby pretty early. I was 21 years old, and at that point I was still smoking. I immediately stopped when I got pregnant. I was like, I'm not doing it. There was just something in my mind that I'm like, hey, I'm done. And literally at that time in my life, I was done, and there was no looking back. I know a lot of people deal with that addiction, so I don't know. I just decided I'm done. I'm done with that part of my life. And I became a mom, and I had babies. I had 4 babies in 5 years. So I was so happy. I really enjoyed those baby years and loved the baby and toddler years. And I was really sold on the idea that I needed to be, I had it in my mind, the kind of mom I needed to be. And she was somebody who baked cookies every day, and I love to work in the kitchen. That's kind of my therapy. So, but between the commercials on TV or whatever, I had it in my mind that I need to make sure I make yummy food for my family, and that means sugar. And literally, like, we were buying tins of Crisco from Costco, and that was what I'm experimenting with pies. And I mean, there's Crisco in everything. There's sugar. Every single day I'm making cookies with the kids, the real peanut butter kind with 2 cups of white sugar. And that was how I spent my 20s, really. And I felt like crap. I mean, when you're consuming those kind of foods, you do not, you don't feel like how the mom looks on the commercial making the Toll House cookies that are full of, oh, I guess I'm not supposed to say it. Sorry.
You want me to say it for you? I'll say it. Talk shit. I'll say whatever you want me to say.
Okay. But you don't feel like those women look. Like, they look fine. They look happy because they're not really eating that way. There's no way to feel energetic and happy and eating that way. It was draining me. And really, for a lot of years in my mind, I just thought, this is just how you feel. This is how you feel when you get older. I'm getting older. I've had babies now, and my energy was drained, and I would choose to just make cookies and eat cookies and sit on the floor and play board games. And I that to me was who a mom was. But there was always something in the back of my mind that was like, I don't feel okay. I don't feel happy. I don't want to feel this way. I knew I wasn't healthy, even though I was trying to pretend like this is the mom I want to be. I always had a feeling that there was something more that and it was because I knew that I wasn't eating the correct amounts of vegetables. And when you're just baking and doing that kind of stuff, making just cheesy potatoes and filling up on those kind of things, it doesn't leave a lot of room for the vitamins and the nutrients that your body actually needs from the proper food and nutrition. So,
well, and even right there, what you just tapped on is that how you take care of your tool gives you the ability to how you show up in life. So when you felt crappy and you felt shitty from eating shitty foods that literally destroy your body, all you really had energy to do was play board games on the floor. And how did that shift for you? Like, and was the biggest painful moment? What was the transitioning moment for you? That moment that made you go, there is too much pain in this. Where did you come conscious of the cost that you were going to pay if you stayed in that? Because at first you were trying to convince yourself and validate it, like I think most people do when they're addicted to sugar, which is society's accepted drug that they want and they crave, and they're so empty inside internally, they try to fill up on a feeling with the foods that they associate to, and that's from our conditioning, the way we've been raised our entire life. So where was the moment for you, Rachel, where you said no more, I'm done? Kind of just like you did with the whole meth and the smoking and everything, you're like, I'm done. Where was that moment for you?
I don't know if it was as drastic. I think it was more of a progression over a couple years where I just started researching.
It's on a show. Stop calling.
I know. Sorry. I started researching different diets and just started researching the way people eat, and I just became more interested. And slowly, the more research I did, my eyes were opened huge, and I realized what I was doing to myself with sugar, even though I'd grown up as sugar just being a normal thing. You go to grandma's, you eat sugar, all through school, junior high and high school, literally I lived on those pink grandma cookies from the vending machines. Now when I realize what our bodies need to grow and to function, I can't believe it. Like literally, that's what I would eat, is one of those pink grandma cookies and a Mountain Dew or something. That's what I spent my teenage years growing on, and it's crazy, but I didn't know better. Or even if I did, you think you're invincible at those ages. So it was a progression, just studying and learning different things, and I learned about clean eating, which clean eating, it's kind of like the tag phrase or whatever. To me, it just means eating real food. And it was definitely a progression, a learning. And the biggest thing that I noticed as soon as I spent a year and I really dropped the sugar, I decreased it. It was very rare that I would eat sugar other than just natural fruits and things, and I felt so much better. I couldn't believe it. I increased my water a ton. Water became the only thing I would drink, and decreased the sugar, and suddenly I was like, oh my gosh, I've never felt like this in my life. I didn't feel like this when I was a teenager. It's amazing what it can do for you, and it does. It changes your whole mental outlook. It changes your energy level. You can do so much more with your days, with your time. It was just a progression.
So something I wanted to tap on that you just said is you felt so good that literally it gave you energy, that you could get so much more done, do all these things. And this is, again, where I always preach and say, if you're not showing up in tune with your tool, you're literally operating out of 1/3 of your capacity. Because you just mentioned, like, when you're addicted to sugar, you're craving, you're anxious, you can't think straight. You're literally living life in a fog. There's no ability to really connect even with your kids or your spouse, or to create in your business or to thrive, because it's like your body is a garden hose. Think of it as it's a tool just like our bodies. If we kink the hose, though, it's the same tool, but it's not working. That's kind of the same idea. And something that you said made me think about how, and you can tell me if this is true for you, but for me, I always say that I believe that what I do is super easy. Like, living in health makes life so easy. I see what other people, they're dieting, they're fighting cravings, they're they're counting on willpower, they're literally fighting their body, they're fighting food, it's like this roller coaster shit. That looks hard. That's hard. But yet what I do is easy. It's like I eat more food than anybody that I know. My body's a fat burning machine. It's made of muscle. And so being lean and ripped and shredded is easy. I'm at peace with food. I'm at peace with my body. So I don't have the cravings. That's what I want to get to. When you get that out of your system, all those chemicals and all those drugs, you went from a space where you were craving it, you wanted it, you were drinking Mountain Dew, you said, and just, grandma's, the little animal cookies, right? And that's what you want. And then it's like you're craving and you're anxious and you want more, and you're craving and you're anxious and you want more. But when you get off of that, when you learn to actually work with your body and be in tune, you said eat real foods, which I would love for you to tell people what you consider to be clean eating, because some people might be so unaware of what that really is. But once you do that, this is where I always tell people it becomes easy, because literally people will ask me all the time, and they might ask you this too, Rachel, being in where you eat clean foods, is people will say, well, when's the last time you had, pizza, or when's the last time you had a hamburger? And I was like, I don't even remember. I'm like, and they think, oh my gosh, because eating healthy must be so hard, and to look that way must be so hard. I got to work out hours a day, and I got to eat just carrots and chicken, and it's not true at all. That's totally a false perception. That is bullshit, because most of the time we haven't been taught how. But literally, I feel like someone would have to hold a gun to my head. A gun, like that. I'd have to come up and be like, eat this pizza. For me to want to eat the pizza, because I have no desire to eat it. I mean, I can make cauliflower pizza, which is epic and awesome. I can eat as much as I want. So a lot of times you see that it's just belief systems for people that eating healthy is really easy. And eating healthy does taste super delicious. They just haven't learned how. And that's kind of where your genius comes in, and you share, teaching people the awesome recipes and how-tos. But tell me how does it feel for you, living in tune with your body now and in health? Is it easy? Where do you see the breakdown in perceptions for people that think it's hard?
It's so much easier. And I'm going to be honest, I mean, I am not always 100%. And immediately when I eat something that I wouldn't consider clean, my daughter had a gift certificate to Cold Stone, so I took her to ice cream, and then when I got home, it literally zapped me. Like it was, I just felt zapped. It took away all my energy for the night, and it was really, I don't know, you notice it. But for me, I mean, the clean eating, it just means eating real foods. For everybody, it means something different. There is like no real firm definition of, everybody has a different idea, but for me it means just upping your vegetables a ton, because that's where we get our vitality from. The vitamins and minerals that are in those vegetables, that's where we get our energy from. For the past few years, I would get up at 4 a.m. and go to a boot camp at 5, and then I'm usually still up so excited to work on my business like at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and people are like, how do you do this? What are you doing? And I'm literally like, I'm just excited about life. And it's because, and it has everything to do with diet, because when I eat crappy, I can't do it. I can't pull it. When I eat crappy, I sleep through my morning boot camps. I'm exhausted. It makes my body feel lethargic. I can't stay up late. I'm like hitting the bed at 8 o'clock at night, because my body's dragging. But when I up my water, up my vegetables, up those things, like it makes me the person I'm supposed to be. My body functions, my mind functions better. There really is. It's everything. So, yeah.
And I fully agree with that, because what's interesting is feeling that difference. A lot of people will say, I don't get it. If you're so healthy, how come when you eat something, that is not good, how come you feel so sick? Because my boys are very in tune with it too, because they've been, they eat really good, and And just if I ever have anything that has anything processed in it, or even stuff that I used to have as treats with my boys in the past as replacements, we'd go get, they thought Maverick was the ice cream store because we'd go get fat-free frozen yogurts from Maverick. That was like a treat replacement instead of like regular ice cream. And now I know how to have like chocolate banana ice cream that's totally nothing processed and totally healthy. And there's so many options, black bean brownies, like, you know, chia seed pudding. There's so many options, which I know you're a genius at. But whenever I even put something like that, like if every blue moon we'd go get a fat-free frozen yogurt, I literally felt so sick. It shut me down. And it's interesting, the shift, and this is why I say, like, you literally lose the desire for it, is because your body is so in tune. It's this healthy, it's your ultimate fat-burning partner. It's your this natural fat-burning partner that God gave you. We just are working against it because we haven't learned how. And so what's interesting is I see that is when I put anything in my system, I'm totally sick. And it's, people think, well, you're so healthy, it shouldn't affect you. And it's exactly opposite. And that's kind of what you're talking about, is that you just all of a sudden you just can't function. So that makes you like, I don't want to do that again. Like, I have no desire to do that. It totally takes me out in my life. And I find this fascinating that I forget sometimes this is what normal people live with every day. This is why I say what they do is hard. Like, they're living in a fog. I can't even imagine feeling that sluggish and tired and no energy and no ability to thrive or connect or be inspired or just ultimately live in life. And that's what you're really talking about.
That's how I felt all through my 20s. But I was like, I've had babies, I'm getting older. No, that was an excuse. It's not, it has nothing to do with that. I tell my kids,
story.
Yeah, if I eat something that I wouldn't typically eat, I go into a coma. I really do. And my kids are like, Mom, I'm just not myself. I'll lay on the sofa and I'll joke. I'm like, I'm in a sugar coma. And it's true. It shocks my system. So It's always a good reminder of why we eat the way we do.
Yeah. Well, Rach, before you go on, I actually just want to allow people to know where they can find you even right now. Like, it's cleanfoodcrush.com that they can be able to find what you do and follow you. And I know you're huge on Instagram. You have like, is it 40,000 followers on Instagram? Something huge, right?
I think close to 35 right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. 35.
If you're just on Facebook, I like Facebook a lot because it's a little more interactive. It's I can talk to people easier. So you just go to facebook.com and then /Clean Food Crush, all one word, or on Instagram. And we're still working out my website. So just come follow me on Instagram or Facebook.
Awesome. And because you've got recipes that you post all the time, these awesome epic recipes. I was trying to get Rachel to come to my cabin retreat because I was like, you got to come hang out with us where all we do for like 4 days straight is awesome epic food and awesome working out and mindset breakthrough to live in a body and life of health. And she just has the best recipes and so many great stuff. So at least following her, make sure you go to cleanfoodcrush.com or follow her on Facebook or on Instagram so you can be aware of when the TV is starting, which is coming up soon, and be able to get access to all these awesome recipes and things as well. And then also, if to be able to get access to my video series that literally breaks down the lies to liberate you and sets you free with the truth to live in the body and the life that's rockin', an epic life, you can go to mindbody90.com to be able to do that. And upcoming, I didn't even mention in the beginning, is we're just a couple weeks away from having my Marci Lock app that will have access to all of these awesome radio shows, the TV shows, the daily workout videos, the fitness tips and nutrition tips, to my mindset breakthrough. So you literally have access to it in the palm of your hand at any time to constantly learning and growing, because our whole intention is just to allow you to see amazing women like Rachel standing in their truth and saying, I was that mom on the floor. And I laugh. I love this, Rach, because this was my story too, living in that belief system of what I thought a mom had to look like. And just like that, this was my role, and not allowing me to fully express myself or fully show up in my capability. And you found a passion for something, saying so this is like the problem. You found the problem, and you said, I want something different. And you said you spent a lot of time. It was progression. Progression. And this is what I think women, I want to smack you sometimes, go, and like get into your head, is that it's progression, not perfection.
Right.
Actually, and just a little bit of twist on this, which I believe is that you're perfect always. Because no matter what shit you're in, if I'm having a moment where I'm being a bitch mom, I'm doing it perfectly. I get to realize I'm being a bitch mom, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on for me? But anything I'm experiencing, it's all perfect feedback for me to create better. It's all my experience in life that allows me to be who I am. Just like you're having your experience with meth, having your experience with smoking, all these things, living where you were so out of tune with your tool, allowed you to go on this journey where you said, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to be this anymore. And you went on this journey and found how you could live what you're describing today, where you're up at 4 a.m., you go rock out a kick-ass workout, you're an awesome mom all day, you share your passion, your purpose, amazing recipes, help other women become inspired, and then you're up till 10 or 11 at night still rocking it out, and you do it again, just because life is awesome and epic. That is so freaking badass. Do you women not want to be in that space? But we get attached to perfection, and I think you mentioned where it's just like, it was progression. I studied, I learned, I studied, I learned. And now, I mean, I don't know if you have before pictures you want to share or anything like that, Rach, but it's like, I know for me, looking at the picture where I was to now, I wouldn't have known that I could ever be here. So I almost want women to hear, coming from you, where you were saying, I was laying on the floor every day, just playing board games, saying, this is just life. I guess I'm just older. I guess I just had babies.
I'm such a good mom, even though I'm not happy, you know. I was being a good mom to my children, but I wasn't showing them. I have 2 daughters, and I want them to be happy with their lives, whatever they choose to do. It breaks my heart to think that when they become a mother, that they think their life is over, that there's nothing left. That whole mentality breaks my heart, and I am going to make sure that they don't do that. It's, you know, they need to take care of themselves and feed themselves and their families the right way, and self-care and all of those things. It's so important to let your children see that, and to see that you're taking care of yourself, and to see you happy and engaged in activities and life, because I think that's a bigger lesson to teach your kids than you know, just making cookies.
I think that's true.
By the way, we can make clean cookies. There's ways to do it, and they're actually really easy. A lot easier than what I was doing before.
Well, and I would love you to touch base on that, what you just kind of started to open up the conversation of, is because what I hear so much is, see, women say, well, a lot of times we have these judgments or these belief systems like, if I have a great body, I'm going to be judged by the neighbors that I'm not a good mom, or I'm unsafe, but even to the fact of, if I take time for myself, then I'm a bad mom. If I do anything other than being a mom. And what I find is interesting is all these women that come into my program, they even yesterday on our mastermind call, one of them was saying, I just realized I have no joy in my life, and I don't look forward to sweeping the floors and just being a mom. So it's like, I chose to be a mom, but I'm disconnected. I'm not relishing in my kids' experiences every day. I'm not playing with them. So we kind of, because we're so unhappy and disconnected with ourselves, we're not in tune with who we are or filled up. I always talk about it like the reference of the crazy lady with the empty pitcher running around trying to fill up her kids' cups. Let me fill up your cup. And they're like, crazy lady, you ain't got nothing in my cup, right? And so we're disconnected and we're unfulfilled. So then the only way we know how to show up is just like, hey, turn on the TV or go through the motions. And we're not even playing with our kids and seizing life. What would you say, and you recognize that that's how you were, and now it shifted for you, and that's what you're wanting to teach your kids. And I would love you to dig into that a little bit. Share with us the mentality, because that's a perception I would love to break free for so many women, to understand and recognize only when they are filled are they filled up to give to their children and to be happy, and then they can teach their kids to be happy, versus, oh, you have to sacrifice your life, show up for everybody else perfectly to allow you to be accepted and loved and validated. Share with us kind of that shift for you, Rachel.
You mean it's okay to say you're bored making 10,000 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and cleaning toilets for 10 years? Is that okay to admit? Heck yes, it's okay to admit that. It's like, you signed up to be a mom because you want that bond with that person, but I mean, there are responsibilities that come with it. But yes, it is unfulfilling, and those certain, after the 10,000 peanut butter and jelly, there's a place that I think it's really important for your children to see you thriving in life and to be joyful and to have relationships with other friends and other positive people, that's an important thing. I think a lot of moms, you know, they give up relationships and stuff. And for me, I think for a lot of years, I just gave up everything. I didn't spend a lot of time on myself. I didn't spend a lot of time with my friends. I just spent time with my kids. And they didn't see me as the person they see me as today, the happy, I just have a lot more life in me. And I still do those things. I still make the peanut butter and jelly, although it's usually out of apples or with Ezekiel bread, but I still do those things. I just do them quicker, and I'm more excited because, you know, I realize I need to clean that toilet, but it's not my whole day. It's not my purpose. My purpose is bonding with my children and making meaningful connections with my friends and my, you know, those type of things. I finally realized that it's okay. It's okay to do those things. In fact, it's made me, it's given me the energy and the, just to do more. I want to do more. I just want to get that toilet cleaned real quick so that I can go play with my kids or make a meal, a clean meal, and share it. I'm just more excited about life. And it is something you have to realize that it's a good lesson to teach your kids, for them to see mom happy and taking care of yourself. It's, yeah.
Well, and one of the, like, what I love is there's limitless possibilities. You found something that you're passionate about, and so it's like you are filled with life because you're like, I mean, even for me, I get up early to bust out my workout so that I can either take my kids to school, or I have a nanny now that she assists sometimes too, but it's like I'm done at a certain time to be mom. And yesterday my little boy was homesick. He's been homesick the last 2 days, so I had my mastermind call with my peeps from around the world. He's sitting on my lap, like chatting away as we're all talking about breakthrough. You're still gonna, it's like, why do we think it has to look a certain way? To be a mom is this, or if I'm gonna work, it's gonna be this. It's like you're literally at home going, I'm making peanut butter out of applesauce, here's some healthy treats, guys, and I'm gonna go clean the toilet, and then I'm gonna like share some recipes on Instagram, and you're filled with passion, and that's why they see you happy, and that's why you're loving life. So what were some of the biggest breakthroughs for you, Rachel, on maybe either, I'd say, dropping some of the stories that weren't serving you, because you keep using the words, it's okay. And it's not just okay, it's fucking mandatory, women. Are you listening to me? I said the fuck bomb, so that you listen up. It's fucking mandatory for you to live a life where you are in tune with who you are, so that your children see that you're happy, and so that they see that they can be who they are and happy. So what were those stories you either dropped, Rach, or it could be positioned as, what did you add to your life to say, to break through the stuff that held you back before, saying it has to look this way, and it gets to look like whatever way I want it to look?
I think, again, it's just been a progression over years, but I think the biggest thing that has helped is just surrounding myself with people who are supportive of me being me, and being surrounded by other people who are very positive go-getters, and just finding people, reaching out to people in my life and pulling them close to me, that has helped a ton. I noticed, I think it was last night, I saw a message from one of my friends on my Instagram, and she's all, Rachel, how do you, because I do have several Instagram accounts, and I really push my clean food website quite a bit, and she's like, I don't understand, how do you have 4 kids and how do you do this? And I've been thinking about it all morning, and I'm thinking, so years ago in my 20s, when I didn't really do anything, I would just be a mom. I did do everything, but I didn't do anything for myself outside of that. That's what I mean. I would, roll out of bed just in time to put their breakfast together and get them to school. Now, the difference is I literally wake up at 4 a.m. excited. I go, I get my workout in, whatever it is. I have usually done 2 or 3 of my Instagram posts. Like, I'm on top of that. I've gone through my emails for the day. For 2 hours before my children even wake up, I'm done with so many things. And it's because I'm so excited about life, and I'm excited to take care of them. I'm excited once they wake up, I get an hour with them before they go to school. So I just get my butt up, and I'm just excited to do that. And it's just changed a lot. I have the energy and the the reason to do it. So
but you design
the other thing is I don't watch TV, so at all, really.
But that's the thing, though. When you feel good, and I find this too, when people start feeling good, they're like, oh, is it normal that I don't want to watch TV anymore and everything's so negative? I just want to go be energized. I just want to go do things. But the thing that you're touching base on, Rach, is so someone says, well, how do you do it with 4 kids and how do you run a business? And I would get this a lot being a single mom. I'm a single mom, 2 little boys. And people would say, how do you do it being a single mom and being on TV and speaking events and radio and traveling and everything? And I'm like, well, I just get to. I get to. Like, is there any other option than to, like, if you want to be a mom, you choose to be a mom, but you choose, instead of being in a story that has to suck or you can't do other things, like, obviously that person has a story that being a mom means they can't do certain things. Or it might be like, well, how do I want to make it work for me? If it means, like, for me, one of the stories I got to drop was that I had to clean my house, or that it was selfish of me to not clean my own house. I'm like, I get to pay for a cleaner. That serves me. Of course, I can serve someone else that wants to clean my house, and I get to take that time to either be focused on my business or be playing with my kids. So you design your day, though. You said, I get up early, I go rock out my workout, I come back, I get to make my kids' lunches, be with my kids. I've already done 2 Instagram posts by 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and you design your day and you took action. And it's the same thing with the body. It's the same thing with any aspect of our life that we want. If we're experiencing something we don't want, you get to go, well, how do I learn from someone that has the results I want? So if they want to learn from someone who knows how to eat clean and to learn how to eat healthy and delicious and make it simple and choose to, like, create a different body experience, they go to a coach like you, Rachel. Like, they can learn from a coach and say, let me learn. And this is just the system to success that I know to be true, that why 19 out of 20 people fail at getting what they want is they don't know the system to success. That is, you learn the knowledge from someone who has it, that has the results, and you implement it into your life. You make that plan, you implement it into your life, and then guess what? What Rachel said was you see what worked and what didn't work, and you do it again, and you progress and progress and progress. So Rachel, like, touch base on that then is how do you feel like what you've learned, what are some of the biggest breakthroughs you've learned to assist you in going from, for someone who says, Rachel, how do you do it? You have 4 kids and I look at you and you're epic. And that's overwhelming to them. Someone who's in that pit of darkness and says, all I know right now is I feel like shit, I want a candy bar, and I'm too tired to play with my kids, I don't want my spouse to touch me, I'm disconnected from my life, and just the thought of eating vegetables grosses me out. It feels gross. It's sick, right? And I mean, you probably could touch base on that. It probably shifted for you too. I know I used to think veggies were disgusting, and now it's like, because that's what your body wants and that's what you have no cravings, you love it. But if someone's in that space, what would you tell them to do to crawl out of that pit? What are the first steps, and what were some of those breakthroughs for you?
So obviously for me, it wasn't that I just suddenly woke up and was perfect. I just continually surrounded myself with positive people, reached out for help, and each day I just tried to do better, and I learned more. And even over the last few years, I've learned so much where, 2 years ago I look back and I'm like, oh, I thought I knew so much. I thought I was eating so healthy. And you learn so much every day. Just, you can't feel overwhelmed and feel like, okay, well, tomorrow I'm starting it. I'm starting my diet and my whole life's going to change and I'm going to be perfect. Like Marci said, you are perfect, but it doesn't work that way. It's something you have to start on that path. And you have to start because this is, you have to begin, and you have to just start somewhere. You start by cleaning out your pantry. Just take small steps. You can't, start educating yourself and surrounding yourself with other people that are like-minded, and it'll work. You just have to keep doing better each day. And it's amazing over like a 2-year time span if you just stick with it, where you'll be and just the growth that you'll experience and what you'll learn and the changes in your life. And as far as the vegetables go and stuff, I think so I just started posting my ideas on Instagram, and I had no idea that anyone would be interested in it. I was like posting ideas for some of my friends at boot camp. I was like, oh, look at this bell pepper pizza I have on the grill or whatever, and people were like, are you serious? That's what you make? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you must be making beautiful food all day. I'm like, seriously, that took me 10 minutes. Like, I guarantee you sat in the In-N-Out drive-thru longer, because I used to be sitting in the drive-thru. So I know how long it takes. And I think that's why people started following me, is because my brain just sort of thinks in food, and my ideas are very simple, and they always incorporate a lot of vegetables, but then I like to turn the vegetables into something you're used to eating. So maybe pizza, or, we do a lot of spaghetti squash, spaghetti, and things like that, but it's always just the natural foods. I love the peanut butter and jelly. For years my kids ate peanut butter and jelly, but now we'll do like almond butter and real strawberries instead of jelly. We'll slice the strawberries, and the funny thing is, it actually tastes better. Like, you can skip it. You can skip buying all that jelly and all the sugar things. And the other thing that the biggest question people ask, and is they're like, budget, how do you do this? Every time I go to the store, I see shopping carts just full of boxed cereals and chips, and that stuff is so expensive. It adds up, and it's so easy once you get used to eating this way, and like just cleaning up your pantry. My shopping trips are so easy. Throughout my 20s, I was this crazy. I was like, oh, so I need to be a mom. Like, I need to cut all the coupons. And so I did the coupon thing for a while, and I was all organized. And I'd show up at the store and buy my 20 boxes of Captain Crunch, because then I also need to do food storage, right? So this is the mom I thought I needed to be. And I was going crazy. Like, I hated it. It was horrible. But so I had my food storage full of like Captain Crunch and Rice-A-Roni, and I'd use my coupons, and like my whole day was so filled with all this crap. It's just crap. Like, I haven't touched a coupon in years, because typically there aren't really coupons for produce. So what I do, so easy, and if you just begin doing this, your life will become so simple. I just skip the chip aisle. I skip those aisles altogether. My basic shopping list is, I don't even make a shopping list, because I just buy the same things every time. And rather than coupons, I just look for what's on sale. If the lean cuts of meat, whatever lean cut of meat is on sale that week, if there's a great sale, buy more, freeze it. Just integrate. If the turkey's on sale rather than the chicken, whatever. Buy whatever's on sale, freeze it, keep a little extra. And then, in the produce section, I spend the most time in the produce section. And it's not that I go in there with the intention of, okay, I'm going to buy this and this and this. This is on my list. I go in there and I look for what's on sale. And those are the things I buy. And the cool thing about that is it's opened up I've gotten to be more creative with the vegetables, because I'll be like, oh, that is a great price. What is that? I've never tried that. And I'll bring it home and I'll figure out how to use it and how to incorporate it in a recipe. And it's great. And produce, if you're buying the produce that is in season and on sale, actually, it's not expensive at all.
Well, like one bag of kale from Costco was like organic kale, which I throw into my green smoothies every day, because it's so loaded with nutrition. It's like $3.50. I mean, right. It's really breaking down the myth that eating healthy costs a lot, and all these things that aren't true. You've just learned, and we both learned how to like share it. So most people just need to know how. I know you get asked a lot from women, like, well, how do I do this with kids? What are some snack ideas? What are ways that I can feed my kids this way? What are your, as we're running out of time, I definitely want to allow some of the moms that are like, what are the how-tos? I want to know Rachel's how-tos. Share with us some of your content on what you do as snack ideas for kids, and some different things that you get asked around being a mom and incorporating this with your kids.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky. My family does not have any allergies, and I know a lot of people have nut allergies. So we're lucky because we eat a lot of nuts. Like peanut butter and almond butter are pretty huge at my house, so those are always incorporated in the snacks. But one of the things my kids love, and it's so simple, but it's just frozen berries. Like whenever the frozen berries are on sale at the store, or we grab Costco's, the kids will come home and they'll literally just go to the freezer, grab a little bowl of frozen blueberries, and then 3 minutes later their mouths are all blue. And that's like their typical snack. And the thing about frozen, it keeps a huge majority of the nutrients, and it's so economical. They keep for a long time in your freezer, so that helps a lot. We make a ton of the banana ice cream too, where I just blend the bananas in the blender and I add all different things. Sometimes I'll add strawberries. Sometimes we'll add, we made one the other day with almond butter and frozen raspberries, and it was the most delicious. So it was just a frozen banana, fresh raspberries, and like a tablespoon of almond butter, and it was like ice cream store to die for.
Yeah.
But 3 ingredients, and it took less time than it would take to load the family up and go to Cold Stone. So
yeah, we love our Vitamix. Just throw in strawberries or fruit in for ice cream, and I've done that at my cabin retreats too. And people are so blown away. They're like, "This is better than ice cream." I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah, and my kids love smoothies. Smoothies is that's a really normal thing. They know how to make their own smoothies, and they're used to throwing the baby spinach leaves. Not a ton. They'll throw a little handful in their smoothie, and that's just normal. And you don't taste it at all. So they'll throw their baby spinach leaves and get their spinach in, and they know that their smoothie's going to be delicious, and they know it's good for their body. And start throwing that spinach in there because you don't taste it. I think we want your green smoothie recipe. I was looking at your green smoothies on Instagram and that your rockin' abs, and I'm like, oh, you need to share your smoothie.
I'm always wearing something with a logo. I'm like, can you see my logo? It's always on somewhere. I told Jeremy that's running our Google Hangout, I'm like, I showered today. I showered. I'm usually in workout clothes even after I shower, though. So, but yeah, the green smoothie is epic and throwing in such good nutrition for your body. And with my little boys, I'll throw in, it's got MSM and spirulina and nutritional yeast and all this supplementation to just load your body with health, and yet you can make it taste so good. I think the key, my trick for green smoothies that I think most people myth up the smoothie is that they turn it into like a 1,500 calorie drink because they throw in so much fruit or they use apple juice or milk, when really you can just sweeten it with natural liquid stevia. And that adds the sweetness to empower the kale and all that, the greenery type stuff. And I even throw like carrots and organic celery and stuff in it, and it's so good. And my boys love it too. So all these tips and tools that you teach, Rachel, are literally breaking through the myths and the barriers. So I would love to kind of focus on that real quick. The last couple minutes that we have is, what would you say are the beliefs? Because again, for someone who's not feeling super in tune with their tool and not experiencing the energy and the ability to show up in life, and this seems so far-fetched to them, and you're telling them, just start. You don't have to be great to start. I love that quote. You just have to start to eventually get to great. And it's these daily simple actions, and this is a lot of what I teach in having the life of having it all, is it's these daily tiny actions every single day. If you say every day I'm just choosing to progress, like you did, Rachel, with learning how to eat clean or learning how to eat to feed your body to be a fat burning machine, etc., every single day, it's like the law of compounding interest. What you do compounds on each other till eventually you get to the results, and then you live in that life experience. But there was belief systems there for you as being a mom, what it had to look like. There was belief systems about the body. So they can hear that. I mean, you probably came from the same beliefs that they're having, and I know I did. I know my beliefs were completely different than the person that I live in today. What were those beliefs that were the limiting beliefs that you had before, and how did those shifts, and what are your beliefs that you really have now living in the space that you're living in?
Well, I think it seems so hard when you're stuck in the monotony of just, the sugar overloads and not making the time to take care of yourself and things like that. You feel stuck, and it really is hard to see yourself as somebody different. You might know people who do it a different way, and you look up to them, or you just think there's no way that could be me. It's not possible. It's so hard to see yourself as that person. But the thing is you can be. It's not that, I don't know, it's not that people, you really just have to dive in and just start taking steps. Because, a few years ago, I wouldn't have thought I would have the energy to be running my own business and having a Google Hangout with Marci Locke, and everybody like cleaning the toilets and be all like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna go to bed at 7 o'clock now because I'm tired. Like I wouldn't have imagined my life the way it is now. Even a year ago, I wouldn't have. It's just a progression, just every single day, just trying a little harder, and you'll literally surprise yourself, what the changes you're able to make. And it opens doors, literally taking care of yourself and like you say, your tool, and taking care of your body. It opens doors in your life that you don't even know are there.
Because you can think straight, and you're inspired, and you can connect, and you're literally a tool in God's hands. It's almost like remembering who you truly are designed to be, and that's the sad part to me. The reality that so many women, especially, but so many people in general, are missing out on is this mundane perception and from our conditioning that life is meant to be this way, and I just get to go through the motions. Instead of, like, my new motto, Rachel, is like, if life isn't awesome, if it's not awesomeness, what the hell is the point? Like, why are we here? But we all have a choice, and I do believe that God gave us free agency. He loves us so much. He, of course, just like you love your children, you want them to be happy, but you know that ultimately they get to make a choice of every direction they take in their life and what they do. And so I believe, like, of course, like, men are that they might have joy, and God wants us to be happy, but yet He loves us so much, He gave us a choice. So if we want to experience a shitty body, that the body's hard, or a battle, or a fight, even though we're designed to be natural fat-burning machines and live in our tool and help, He says it's your choice. If you want to experience relationships suck, if you want to experience that money's hard, He says, it's your choice. I love you. So the belief systems, I think, is huge, is to breaking through. And I love when you said just dive in. I think the key component for people is they get to realize, until you see more pain in what you're experiencing right now and more pleasure and change, you will always convince yourself of otherwise. If you see more pain in change, such as if they say, no, eating healthy is so hard, it doesn't taste good, it takes so much time, I'm going to miss out with family, blah, blah, blah. All these things that you and I both know now going through it are bullshit stories and validations. And they're reasons. And you can have reasons or you can have results. But when they see more pain and change, they see more pleasure in staying the same. I think people got to get real. And that's what I want. Like, I wanted in you sharing your story of, like, getting real. Like, what kind of mom were you really experiencing being? What kind of life were you really experiencing when you lived feeling shitty and pretending it was okay and pretending that it's just, I'm just going to validate this, that this is just what it's like to get older and to have babies and to be a mom. But ladies, bullshit. Bullshit. You can keep telling yourself those stories and excuses, or you can choose to have an epic, amazing life because you simply get to now do something different and face those and just realize that they're untrue, and what do I get to do? And you can learn from someone like Rachel on how to implement amazing eating that is delicious and easy and simple and feel good and thrive and connect with your kids and literally show up as the divine goddess of greatness you are meant to be. And that's our true message for today. So Rachel, thank you so much for taking the time today to share some of your tips, and just, like, your story I think is so powerful, because women are going to look at you and go, wow, Rachel's beautiful. You are a gorgeous hot chick, and you are a beautiful epic goddess, and you are an amazing mother, and you're rocking out your business, and you're sharing your passion, your purpose. And so they look at you and they go, oh, but that's Rachel. Well, you were once where they were, and I know I was too. And so I so appreciate you. You're epic. You're the first guest on Marci Locke TV Snap. There you go. So I'm so grateful that you came and shared with us again today. So again, you guys can get in tune with what Rachel's doing. Follow her on cleanfoodcrush.com. You can follow her on Facebook. You can follow her on Instagram, which is all under Clean Food Crush.
We have a ton of fun. It gets kind of crazy. We have fun. I like to have fun. I like to get to know everyone, so it's a lot of fun.
And you're so good at it. Like, you reach out and you're so connected. That's what I mean. It's not like you're someone who doesn't respond. You're literally sharing your recipes, and this is your passion and your purpose, and so you really are there to assist so many people on their process of this. So definitely.
I've learned that about myself. The healthier I've gotten, it makes me like people more too. So
isn't that interesting how we shelter ourselves and we hide away from life when we feel like shit? I don't know. There's some sort of connection, people, to feeling shitty and missing out on life and showing up in your tool and actually experiencing and rocking out your life. I don't know. I mean, after this hour, hopefully they got that, right, Rach?
You're awesome.
I know. Thank you. So are you. So, obviously, you guys follow her, take advantage of what Rachel has to offer, her amazing recipes. I love her tons. I'm hoping that we get to do more together, Rach. You get to come to some of my either Goddess Warrior experiences or my cabin retreats, and we can play a little bit more.
I can't wait.
Good.
I can't wait. We're on it.
I love this technology. I'm like, what? Oh. So cleanfoodcrush.com, and then again, if you guys want to access my free video series, which I believe is epic awesomeness too, because you know I'm going to tell it straight. You go to mindbody90.com, and then within the next week or so, you'll be able to have access to my Marci Lock app. The magazine's coming out next month, so Rachel will get to be in our first magazine issue coming out next month. All the people that get to be interviewed on the show are actually featured in the magazine, so you can hear more from her on her interview, and that's actually transcribed and will be available there as well. So for all of you joining us today, we hope that you had an amazing time. Thank you, Rachel, for joining us and sharing your story. Again, cleanfoodcrush.com, mindbody90.com, and you'll have access to the app. And you can join us next week on Marci Lock TV and also on Warrior Woman Radio and all the fun stuff that I tend to throw out there. You can also follow on Facebook every day for tips and tools and tricks. So I don't know, Rach, I mean, now that I don't have an exiting intro, like, you know, my cool little radio show that was like the dude with the voice and said, locking down the truth. It's like, I'm just like, okay, do we just lock it down? And what, any last thoughts or words you want to share before we tune out today?
Okay, I do have one last thought. So if you have been inspired at all, just even the tiniest bit, do not be like, okay, so tomorrow morning I'm going to change this one thing. Go do it right now. Try something different. Like right now, not tomorrow, not like Monday, just tonight. Be like, I'm going to add some extra vegetables, or I'll go check out Rachel's Instagram. Go check out my Instagram, and you'll get ideas. And do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait till tomorrow morning. Just start. Start on the journey.
I love that, because most people think it's all or none mentality with perfectionist identity, which means, oh, well, today I already screwed up, so I'll just screw up more, or it'll start tomorrow. Like you're saying, like that's just a choice of like it's progression. Get that down, people. It's progression. So I love it. Thank you, Rachel, for smacking people a little bit. And you didn't even swear to do it. I mean, I usually tend to be vulgar to get people to move. It's fun stuff. Okay, well, thanks again for joining us, everybody, for joining us today. We will be locking down the truth again next week. Next week I'm going to be covering the core concept of being, as every week I'm going to be doing body, being, balance, and then business, so that we cover all core aspects of our lives and be able to share how you can literally be a woman showing up in her truth, living as a divine goddess, and literally having it all. So Rachel, I know you're doing the same thing. Thanks again for being here, being this epic example today, and I'm just going to say, lock it down. Power of choice is yours. Choose your best life. This is Marci Lock, the Mind Body Mentor. Lock it down.